Good evening, boys and girls. It is Mrs. Gannon reading you Out of My Mind, chapter 15 and 16, so get somewhere snuggly and listen up. The next morning, we get the first snowfall of the season. Big fat flakes fall outside the windows of room H5. Freddie zooms over and touches the window. Nice, he says. Mrs. Shannon rolls all of us closer so we can watch the snow accumulate on the grass and trees. It's really pretty. Even Jill seems to relax. "We gonna play in the snow?" asked Maria. "No, Maria, it's too cold to play outside. But guess what? It's getting close to Christmas." Maria cheers. "I've heard it's some sort of tradition around here to decorate this old styrofoam snowman," Miss Shannon continues. She makes a face as she pulls Sydney's head out of his box. Maria starts to hug it, but Mrs. Shannon stops her and says, "I believe in the smell of fresh pine trees at holiday time and real candy canes and popcorn garland. Tomorrow I'm bringing in a real tree and we're going to make it beautiful." While Mrs. Shannon shows the rest of the class how to make paper snowflakes, Catherine and I sit together in front of one of the clunky classroom computers and do web searches on communication devices. It's so slow. Sometimes it gets jammed up and stalls, and we have to reboot it and start all over. Room H5 always gets the big old leftover computers that the other classrooms no longer want. Catherine and I research all kinds of electronic talking and communication devices that have been designed for people like me. Lots of them seem as clunky and awkward as our room computer. Some look really complicated. All of them are expensive, crazy expensive. Some of the websites don't even list the prices, like they're afraid to specify how much the things cost. The devices that use standard computer keyboards wouldn't work. I'd have no way to hit the individual keys. I need something that would work with just my thumbs. We find adapted computers, talking boards that speak the words, push-button systems, and even devices that work with blinks and head nods. Finally, we find something called a MediTalker. That looks like a possibility. It has big enough spaces for my thumbs to get into and millions of words and phrases in it. I watched an online video of a boy about my age using one, and even though he clearly has no voice of his own, this little box lets him tell all the details of his recent birthday party. I get so excited that my legs started kicking and my arms start flailing, and I look like some kind of crazy human helicopter. Catherine prints out the information and tucks it into the book bag that is attached to the back of my chair. "Good luck, Melody," she says as she leaves for the day. When I get off the bus after school, Miss V is waiting for me as usual. I almost twist out of my seat trying to point at my bag to let her know I have something in it. "Hold your horses," Mrs. V says. "Since when are you excited to do homework? What's got you all in a tizzy today?" I just grin and kick. After my snack of caramel candy first, and tuna melt last, and after Penny, who has just gotten up from her nap, eats her applesauce, Mrs. V finally pulls the papers out of my bag. "Well, this is exactly what you need," Mrs. V said, slapping the printouts on the table after reading them. "No wonder you're all fired up." "Yes, yes, yes," I point. And then I point to the individual words. Talk to Mom and Dad. Talk, talk, talk. "I'll do just that, just as soon as they get home from work, Melody," Mrs. V promises. I can hardly wait. While Penny watches Cookie Monster gobble carrots instead of cookies on Sesame Street, I dream of talking, talking, talking. When Mom picks us up, Mrs. V, true to her word, not only shows Mom the printouts, but even has her computer ready, set up to the web page where the MediTalker is advertised and sold. Penny sits on Mom's lap and keeps pushing computer keys, messing up the display, which is getting on my nerves. But Mom watches a video that shows people actually talking and cracking jokes and even going to college by using that machine. Mrs. V explains to Mom how this is exactly right for me, and Mom, instead of being practical and sensible and thrifty like she usually is, seems to agree. "Looks like insurance will cover about half the cost," she muses as she navigates the website. "Let me talk to Chuck. This is long overdue." "Tonight?" I ask for my board. "Yep, tonight," Mom says, giving me a squeeze. But nothing happens right away in my world. Mom fills out the online application for the machine the next day and sends it in. I wait. Then we have to ask my doctor to fax in a prescription. I've heard of prescriptions for antibiotics, but for machines? That seems crazy. Who'd ever want this machine unless they needed it? I wait. Next, we have to get approval from our insurance company, more paperwork and more phone calls, and more questions to answer. I wait. A parental financial statement has to be turned in. You gotta be kidding. Why did they make it so complicated? I wait. The medical form was missing one signature and has to be resubmitted. I wait. One last approval form from a school official has to be turned in. I wait. I've realized I've been waiting for this thing all my life. Finally, on the Wednesday before Christmas, the MediTalker arrives. I need no other gift. When I get home from school, Mrs. V tells me that she hurried to my house when she saw the UPS truck pulling up in the driveway. She signed the package and brought it into her house for safekeeping. The huge brown box sits there taped and secure, and it's addressed to me. I wiggle and squeal and insist we open it right away. I can feel one of my tornadoes coming on. Spastic City, here I come. Calm down, Mellow Yellow. Mrs. V places a hand on my shoulder, but I can't relax. Open, 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 I tap. Well, your mom knew you'd be impatient, Mrs. V said, so when I called her to say it arrived, she told me it was okay for us to open it. I feel like I'm going to have a heart attack watching Mrs. V carefully open the edges of the box. She lets me pull all the brown paper inside. Then, under about a mile of bubble wrap, there it is, the MediTalker, smaller than I expected. It's only the size of my wheelchair tray, but it's sleek and shiny and cool to the touch. It's like a butterfly ready to unfold its wings. Boy, oh boy, I can't wait to try it. Mrs. V plugs it into the wall outlet to charge the battery and then pulls out the huge booklet of directions. Whew, she said, this will take a year to read and understand. She flops down into a soft, easy chair with Penny on her lap and begins to read. And I began to wait, and wait, and wait. Finally, when I just know I'm about to explode, I wheel over to the table where the MediTalker sits. I've seen the kids at school play video games they've never seen before, and I've seen them program their phones and computers without touching a book of instructions. So I take my right thumb and push on the button. The board whirs and glows, and then a welcome message appears on the screen. I push another button, and a voice that sounds like an Englishman with a really bad head cold blurts out, "Welcome to MediTalker." Mrs. V jumps from the couch. I shriek with joy. It's like you're way ahead of me, Melody. Not that I'm surprised. She sets Penny down. Now let's see what this machine can do. I feel like Christopher Columbus bumping into America. It had been there all the time, but he was the first one from his world to find it. I wondered if his heart beat as fast as mine. We quickly discover that the MediTalker has more than a dozen levels, all easily reached with just one button. So on level 1, we program the names of everyone I know, my name, all the members of my family, kids and teachers at my school, my doctors and neighbors, my parents' friends, and of course, Mrs. V. On the second level, she insists we add all the vocabulary words we've been collecting on our multicolored 3x5 flashcards. Type save, type save. Mrs. V's fingers fly as she keeps adding more words for me. Lots of our vocabulary words are already in the machine's memory, but she gives me more. Nouns, verbs, adverbs, and adjectives, thousands of them, as well as a cool sentence maker that is located on another level. We can prepare hundreds of phrases and sentences and get to them with just a touch. Have you heard that latest song? That's what's up. How did you do on the spelling test? Ordinary words, normal conversation. I've never had that. Awesome. Another level is for numbers and even computation. I'll be able to do math now. Maybe I won't tell the teachers about that one. And there's a level full of corny jokes and silly sayings, with room left for us to add more. Another level plays music. I can connect the device to a computer and download any song I want. I can't wait to search iTunes. Maybe I can ask Rose which songs are hot. Rose, I can actually talk to Rose now. We stop programming after a while. Penny needs to be changed and kept occupied, but I'm much too excited to rest. So after Mrs. V gets Penny set up with her dollhouse at the foot of the couch, we add even more words and phrases. Finally, she stops typing and says, "Would you like to try it out?" The room is absolutely quiet. I stroked the edge of the machine softly and then pushed 2 buttons. "Thanks, Mrs. V," the computer's voice says. She blinks real fast. I do too. She reaches for a tissue. We both need it. Mrs. V tucks a tissue into her pocket and then begins reading again from the instruction manual. "Hey, listen to this," she said. "With that connector cord, you can also save longer things you want to write, like stories or poems on the computer." "Wow," the machine says. Mrs. V nods in agreement. "This is going to be fun, but you're going to need lots of practice to make it say what you want, kid." She's right. Many levels have been left blank for users to input their own information, words, sentences, phone numbers, even pictures. Information can be typed directly into the machine, or it can be downloaded from a computer. It's a little overwhelming. "We can design this to fit you, Melody," Mrs. V tells me. "This will be your world, so let's take our time and make it exactly what you need." I'm so happy. I almost feel like hugging the machine, but that would look really silly. Instead, I name it. That's probably pretty dumb, but sometimes it's good to have something that nobody else knows but you. I'm not going to type the name into a machine because it's personal, but in my mind, I'm going to call the MediTalker Elvira, after that song I like. Yep, my heart's on fire for Elvira. While Mrs. V plays with Penny for a while, I continue to explore what Elvira can do. One of the first changes I want to make is the hello message and the voice that speaks it. The computer-produced greeting sounds really fake, but the machine offers several female voices to choose from, as well as a bunch of different languages. I picked the voice called Trish. She actually sounds like a girl, not a grown-up. I wouldn't mind sounding like her if I could. "Bienvenue," Trish says in French. I know that means welcome. I push a button for German, and she says "Willkommen." I even find something that sounds like "Funing" when I touch the button for Chinese. I stop for a minute and stare at the board. It has never occurred to me that there are kids like me in Germany and China and France who need a machine to help them talk. Mrs. V returns to me and helps me change the original welcome message from the very mechanical sounding "Welcome to MediTalker" to Trish's voice saying, "Hi, I'm Melody, talk to me." I can't wait to take it to school and introduce my new computer to everybody there. I wonder what Rose will say. By now, both Mom and Dad have called to check on how we're doing, how much progress we've made. They're both anxious to get there and see the device for themselves, so while we wait, Mrs. V suggests that we just keep programming it, adding more and more. She thinks I should practice using it for a couple of weeks before taking it to school. I don't really want to wait, but I have to agree with her that this is going to take some time. I want to be able to use the system to talk like ordinary kids, sort of. So we return to words. I want to input thousands of them. Notebook, marker, homework, assignment, test, positive, negative, fingernail, nail polish, outfit, backpack, purse, scared, excited, purple. Then we type in more phrases, hundreds of them, to the mall, from a distance, in the middle. As a result, the reason why. Lastly, we get some sentences, dozens of them. What time is it? What's up with that? You crack me up. I'm so excited. Before the doorbell rings. When Dad and Mom come in to pick us up, Dad is ready with his camcorder. His hands are shaking a little. "Show us how it works, honey," he said. I can't believe Dad is making a video of me saying my first words. It's almost like when he filmed Penny's first words. Well, not really. I type very carefully and push the button to make the machine speak. "Hi, Dad. Hi, Mom. I'm so happy." Mom gets all teary-eyed and her nose gets red. She's looking at me all soft and gooey. When I think about it, I realize I have never said any words directly to my parents, so I push a couple of buttons and the machine speaks the words I've never been able to say. "I love you." Mom completely loses it. She bubbles up with tears and grabs Dad. I think he might be sniffing back a couple of tears himself, but he has recorded it all. Chapter 16. I wait until after the holiday break to take the machine into school. I have practiced with Miss B every single day of Christmas vacation, learning how to push the right buttons, how to switch smoothly from one level to another, how to make contractions. I had to figure out how to say isn't instead of is not, or there is instead of there is. It was hard. I kept messing up, but Mrs. V wouldn't let me quit. I didn't want to. So on that first Monday back, Elvira is the star of the day, making me the center of attention. And not because of something embarrassing I did, like throwing up or spilling my food, but for something really cool instead. Unbelievable! Even the teachers seem impressed. "Watch out, world," Mrs. Shannon announced when she sees me in the hallway. "Melody is ready to rock, y'all." I grin, push a button, and a song from the latest teen musical begins to play. "Girl, you really got it going on, music and everything." Mrs. Shannon starts sashaying down the hall in rhythm to my music. I crack up. In room H5, Maria is glued to me all morning. "Cool beans, Melly Belly," she keeps repeating. "Cool beans, can I play?" She wants to touch the glowing lights and shiny buttons, but Mrs. Shannon steps in and distracts her with the new computer game she's loaded on the classroom machine. When Catherine comes in, just before the bell for language arts class, I'm ready for her. She's wearing a green plaid shirt, a blue skirt, and orange knee socks. I planned the first thing I wanted to say to her, so Mrs. V and I had programmed it ahead of time. I pushed a button and smiled. "Let's go shopping." Catherine gasped, and then she laughed so hard she almost can't catch her breath. Then she runs over to me and hugs me. "I'm so happy for you, Melody. You really needed this. And yes, we're going to have to find a day so you can teach me some fashion sense." "We need hurry," I type in. I'm in a great mood. "You're a cold-hearted woman," Catherine declares, still laughing. "But for now, let's get you to your inclusion classes and show off this cool new machine." I shiver with excitement when I roll into Miss Gordon's room as usual. Nobody looks up, except for Rose, who flashes me a smile. But then I turn the volume up real loud and I push a button. "Hi, everybody. I have a new computer." Heads turn and voices whisper. They make computers for that special Eddie's. It talks. Mine doesn't do that. "You don't need yours to talk." It sounds weird. So do you. What could she possibly have to say anyway? But Connor jumps up, his shaggy blonde hair flopping in his eyes, and says loudly, "That's awesome, Melody." And because he's one of the popular kids, and probably the biggest and tallest kid in the 5th grade, I think because he gives his okay, the rest of the students decide to leave it alone. Well, most of them. Claire, who was the first in the class to get her own laptop and who makes sure everybody knows it when she gets a new iPhone or a Wii game, sniffs and says, "That sure is a funny-looking computer, but I guess it's perfect for a kid like you." She and Molly exchange looks. I swear, they think I'm blind. Miss Gordon, who looks like she wants to squeeze Claire like an empty toothpaste tube, tells her, "Claire, I don't allow rudeness in my classroom. Now sit down and hush." But even Claire can't dim my good mood. I push another button for a sentence. Mrs. V and I prepared ahead of time. Somehow I knew I would need it. The machine says, "I talk to everybody now." Claire, too. I see her scowl, but everyone else laughs. They all want to touch the machine or push a button or try to operate it, but Catherine keeps them away and lets me do all the demonstrating. I do the green level, the jokes, knock knock. "Who's there?" several people reply together. "Isabel," the MediTalker says. "Isabel who?" the kids surrounding reply. "Isabel out of order? I had to knock?" Everybody laughs at the silly joke with me, even though my arms and legs flail out and I drool a little as I laugh. It's the first time in my entire life that I feel like I'm part of the group. I wish I could click a save button so I could play this moment over and over again. I type in, "Today is Monday, it's cold," and then push a blue button on the machine. It whirs a little, and then, like a tongue sticking out, a thin sheet of paper erupts from the side of it. Printed on it are the words I just typed. "Whoa," says Rodney, the champion video game player in the class. "It's got a printer. That's too slick." Miss Gordon nods with encouragement as Catherine passes a printout around so everyone can read my words. Then Catherine tells the class, "Melody's MediTalker is a combination computer, music player, and speech device. It's got HD high-tech guts, and it's designed to rock her world and connect you to it. Take the time to listen what she has to say." Claire raises her hand. "Yes, Claire," Mrs. Gordon said, a look of warning in her eyes. "I'm not trying to be mean, honest, but it just never occurred to me that Melody had thoughts in her head." A couple of other kids nod slightly. Miss Gordon doesn't raise her voice. Instead, she responds thoughtfully. "You've always been able to say whatever came to your mind, Claire. All of you. But Melody has been forced to be silent. She probably has mountains of stuff to say. Yes, 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 I make the machine say. I give Miss Gordon a smile of thanks, and then I show Rodney and Connor a video game that came with my MediTalker. I doubt if I'll ever be fast enough to play Space Soldiers, but it's nice to know it's there. Rodney could probably master it in a hot minute. Miss Gordon checks out the various levels and looks impressed. What a huge vocabulary you have now, Melody, she says to me. I know you feel like a ton of bricks have been lifted from you. I nod. Way cold, the machine says loudly. Oops, I meant to say way cool. I feel my face getting warm as I hear Claire and Molly snicker, but Rose pulls her desk close to my chair. This is so awesome, Melody, she says softly, and I let her touch the shimmery keys. Oh yes, I reply. Then I look at her. Friends? I type. Friends, she answers without hesitation. Happy, I type. Then I tense. I hope I won't do anything stupid like knock something over with excitement. Rose is looking intently at me. I can't imagine what it must be like to have all those words stuck inside, she finally said. It sucks, I type in. Rose chuckles. I feel ya. All right, I'll see you tomorrow. Sleep good.